So today I'm going to talk about a spoonful of cement that you're going to be taking. High-level sport is tough, and there's a very big difference between what's healthy and what's form fit in endurance sport. But what does health mean? What does it look like? Well, as a coach, I'm here to harden you physically, but then I'm also here to soften you at the same time, to crack the BS exterior, to tear down the walls of belief that you've built up about yourself, and to get at what you're capable of. That's my job. That's what I do. That's performance coaching. That's coaching. So it's to move away from excuses and mental self-abuse and move into flow with a goal. And I'm here to give you the tools to help you figure out the journey for yourself, so you can take responsibility for it and not farm it out or look outwards for an inner answer. So physically, when athletes line up to try and make huge inroads into performance, you can't then turn around and complain that it's too hard and bordering on abuse, because that's what you settled up for. And I guess because when you line up for a goal like that or like this, what you're basically saying is, I'm prepared to do what others aren't prepared to do. I'm prepared to put myself through levels of discomfort that others would rather not. I'm willing to put myself through this because I feel I can, and I feel a desire and the will to do it. And once you start that journey, you have to get two sides of the whole athlete to the table. You can't leave one behind. The body is a physical match of your psyche. If your thinking is in resistance to the pain and the path that you've selected, then it's no surprise when the body goes into the same resistance, or shows the same resistance, or mirrors it. And that's often what happens. And sometimes that's unconscious. I've witnessed so many athletes over the years at war with themselves, in an entanglement of wanting one thing and at the same time believing they're not capable of it. You know what I mean? Like one injury after another, one sickness after another, caused not by the physicality, but by the structure of the belief system. If you believe something hard enough, you make it real. So the psychic energy that you put out there will always come back to you, often in the form of the physicality. So when you toe the line, and when you encourage yourself or others into high-level sport or any kind of chase, understand that the psychology is half the deal. One half of the whole. One coin with two different sides, heads and tails. So the necessary hardening is going to take place psychologically. You are what you believe. And you are what you believe you're not also. And I guess this hardening, if we had to use a tag or a label, is called non-resistance and acceptance. And when there's a problem, be it an injury or a sickness, the resistance will take you nowhere. The question is, what can I learn here? You know, where has my head been? A ton of the exhaustion that an athlete feels comes from the way they think and believe, not so much by what they do, it's how they judge the session. God, that was a hard session. Now I'm knackered. Are you really knackered, or do you just believe in that? So if you're going to resist your own journey, that's fine, because that's your choice. This is your version of the world, and do whatever you like with it, but at least see your own inner truth and give up the war, like the war I'm having with the chiming on the computer right now. Sport can be great fun. Sport can also be incredibly hard work. When you say, I want the best performance I can get from myself, you know, I want to achieve, let's say, X, Y, Z, what you're actually saying is, I'll take the risk and leave myself vulnerable and exposed in front of all with this goal. And I refuse to speak against myself, and I have the capacity to thrive. That's what you're saying to yourself. So that's an important indicator for performance in the direction that you want to move in. So what is the definition of athletic hardness? Well, it's called vulnerability. It's called non-resistance, and it's called acceptance. Probably the opposite of the Rocky movies that we've watched in the past, but there you have it. So is high-level sport bordering on abusive? If you abuse yourself, of course it is. But that abuse is just as bad, if not worse, when it's psychological, not physical. So it's important to get that in the correct relationship. When a coach seems to be putting you through the ringer physically and you start to question the motives, understand that what they're doing is it's not because of some perverse ideology around hurting people. It's because they know you need the hardening. And maybe it's not physical, maybe it's psychological hardening that you need. But we can still go after the physical to try and get at that. Many now believe that they can chart the progression through pure mathematics, a belief that somehow maths is an athletic savior. And there's not a single formula that can ever get inside an athlete's head or heart to the core of all performance. It's impossible. How do we measure will? How do we measure desire? How do we measure the ability to put oneself through such a thing? Belief is not a product of proof. Proof is a byproduct of belief. If you're looking for belief through proof and evidence, then you're missing the main ingredient. First, you have to understand and believe that you are capable. Otherwise, no amount of evidence and proof will ever overcome the belief that you can't do it. Even if the proof is there, your belief otherwise will make it so. So physically, the world's full of great trainers and lousy racers, and that's the reason why. See, everything stems from what you believe. It's the first cab off the athletic rank. And if you don't believe, you'll go from one training ideology and philosophy to the next in a never-ending search for the belief, which is actually inside you, not outside you. And when we coach, that's what we point to. We don't point to us, we're pointing to you. It's just to get the relationship correct. Spend less time reading and more time asking yourself the tough questions, which can only be answered by you. Only you have the capacity to answer. Where is the drive to hold the numbers coming from? What's the source? What's at the core of performance? I mean, there's 7 billion of us and we're all different. It's the stunning quality of individuality, isn't it? Nothing can chart that except you. Guts and heart arise in the place we call me. If you can't see the value in that, then you'll never see the value in the goal. So once again, the psychological and the physical creates a whole. Thanks for listening.